standard, I think, it's like.
People deluded, I'm back again.
Come on, Ian, man. Come on.
Thank you very much for that one there, Ian Wright. People deluded, I'm back again. First things first, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and in some cases, good night. I hope you're doing well and safe. I hope your weekend was great. I hope last week was great, and I hope this week is bigger and better for everybody tuned in. Hope you and your loved ones have good health. Appreciative of you lot tuned in, my regular viewers that obviously help grow the platform, where I think we've just touched 53k subscribers, people. That fluctuates, so we have to wait a bit for confirmation. But yeah, we're growing, people. So very appreciative of the support. Appreciate all the support you lot are giving this video. Please make sure you smash the like button, get your comments in, check out the YouTube playlist, turn on your notifications and all of that good stuff, because there's probably throughout the night been a couple of videos. There'll be a couple of videos coming out today. We will speak about the transfer news, and I'm not too sure when this video specifically I'm doing, but I'm pretty sure I would have done a live stream / a live stream will be upcoming depending on where you see it. So yeah, big up you lot, big up my Arsenal fans, obviously springing the step. In fact, should I really be excited? Should I really be excited? Really, you know, it's another week where Arsenal have collected 3 points. You know, I think we should all start selling Cali, man, because we got flavors for sale. We got that Chelsea pack, that Liverpool pack, that Spurs pack, and that's coming way too, man. Conte, I heard top six. He's great against top six defensively. Still proven winner. Bare hype, man. Tell him stop complaining and go and get his coaching up. Because when MIKEL Arteta was coaching the boys for the game against you lot, you just sat there and complained, people. North London is ours, you know. Collected 6 points off them lot, got our first away victory since 2014, which is quite disgraceful for a club of our stature, but we did what we needed to do. I think MIKEL Arteta said I was still playing them times, so it's a madness. It's nice to end that poor run. It's nice to obviously win our first game at their new stadium. It's nice to collect 6 points off a top six rival. It's nice to continue our great away form. Our home form is great, but our away form was a part as to why we haven't been doing what we've been doing for a number of years. And so far, everything's more or less been perfect. The only sort of marks against Arsenal is, can we get some depth? Can we take it to greater standards? You know, because we are doing it, we haven't done it. Can we get some more depth in the team? You know, on another day, I can't lie, in the North London derby, even though everything was perfect, I was thinking this would have been a game to just bring El Nene on. And, you know, when people start getting tired like Zinchenko, who was fantastic. I mean, he started off at left back. He's basically playing right centre mid. You know, I'm a big fan of Kiritini. It's Kiritini FC. It's a squad game. We're still going to need him, and with the depth and things like that. But once you get a taste of what Zinchenko brings to the team, I can't lie, Tierney, it's difficult to go back. Not to criticize Kiritini, because there will be games for him, but Zinchenko's got other dimensions. He drifts into midfield, you know, he manages the game well, he backs himself in possession. Obviously, there's a couple of moments defensively, you know, he's going to lack really, because you know his strengths are more going forward. And obviously provides an out-and-out left-back role. And there was a couple of those, I don't want to say nervy moments, but Zinchenko was all over the place at left back / left wing back / centre mid / right centre mid. I think he did very well to cut out a number of counter attacks from Spurs, because obviously we play a high line. Spurs are quite good on the counter. Aerially, I would say that would be the most impressive thing, because when you think of Zinchenko's strengths, you're not really going to say dominant in the air. Whether it's isolated to this game or not, who cares? Because he shut up shop. Yeah, Kulusevski had a couple of shots, but he's in Zinchenko's pocket, much like Harry Kane is in William Saliba and Gabriel's pocket. I mean, they've been snatching chains all season, so it's nothing. But Zinchenko, baller, you know, man to man, everybody did well. Can't ask more. But if I had to single out individuals, Ramsdale, because while it was, I think the fact that Ramsdale had to make 7 saves, really, in a North London derby, it's going to happen another day. Spurs probably should have scored a couple. You know, I look at the fine margins where Sessegnon went close, Son had one, Kane had a couple. Ramsdale's made seven saves and arguably man of the match in his own right. But I do think that kind of flatters and makes the game appear a bit closer than it was. Fair enough, North London derby with the quality Spurs have, it is what it is, really and truly. So we would have taken that. Happy to have a clean sheet. But I think Ramsdale, Zinchenko, Martin Odegaard, you know, the goal is one thing, the movement, the taking the sting out of games, the way he governs the midfield. They said he's not on big games and turning up away from home. Absolute baller. I'd extend that to, I'd even throw in, I think, Gabriel and Saliba, more so Gabriel, even though Saliba's won the header for our second goal. Gabriel, fantastic game against Harry Kane. The only time they switched off is when And they have to work on that because that's happened in a couple of big games where it's like Harry Kane. If you imagine Saliba and Gabriel here, Harry Kane's in the middle. Both young centre-backs are caught ball watching. Kane had a header and Ramsdale saved. But other than that, shut up shop. Benjamin White had a great game. You know, our right-hand side was decisive. Partey, couple of shaky passes initially, could have scored a goal of the season, had a vital hand to play in both the goals. We exploited their right-hand side. I don't also big up Bukayo Saka because, you know, Saka wasn't at his greatest, but he was still dominant. It was a mature performance. It was, you know, for me, it was the maturity and how we managed the game and how we killed the game in the first half an hour. You know, we never really looked in doubt. I did think Spurs would score, make it 2-1, bit of a nervy end to the game, but that didn't happen. We managed the game well. We started the game well. We won our individual battles. We won our collective battles. You know, even someone like Eddie and Nketiah probably could have scored. Watching the game again, like I did, should have probably scored. I'd say definitely the one where it's not the best of passes from Xhaka, but Eddie's good enough to take a better first touch and score. We did well, man. You know, Spurs are woeful as a team at this moment in time. But that's not our problem. The problem is that, you know, for them is that's something that's not necessarily isolated to Arsenal. Spurs have weaknesses. You go out there and exploit that. You know, their keeper is nervy on the ball. And you saw early on with Eddie and Nketiah a sign of things to come with the way Lloris's distribution. And I think the second goal, I felt sorry for Hugo because he did look nervous, but not a single Spurs player has shown for the ball. He's gone long, and we'll get onto it. Saliba's won the header and kept it moving, and we pull it in the back of the net. But, you know, their centre-backs are not the most glamorous on the ball. And the one that was with Romero lost his head early on. Dyer and Longley, very limited. I'd say Sessegnon, Sarr, two of Spurs' better players, and probably Kulusevski, but none of it mattered. You know, they had no options on the ball. Their centre-backs weren't glamorous. I think Eddie and Nketiah worked very well against that back three, pulling into channels, dropping deep, doing the dirty, hard graft for the team. But their centre-backs are limited. The midfield battle is always going to win it, really, but you need to go out there and do it. Obviously, you know, if you win the midfield battle and the defensive battle and the keeper's just going to have to go long, they're just reliant on Harry Kane, Son and Kulusevski. And Kulusevski's the only one that really purred. Kane and Son were quiet. They probably both should have been on the score sheet on another day when Spurs are reflecting in the game. And we had Conte change into a back four and things. And at the end of the day, if you go half an hour into the game, you go 2-0 up against a defensive side like Conte's back five, you've done well in it because that's their game plan out of the window. You know, second half FC Spurs, it weren't quite that. So we did well, man. I think, as I said, Zinchenko getting into the tight spaces, you know, venturing forward and things like that, intercepted, he did well. I did like how we were defensively as well with our low block deep unit. Spurs struggled to break that down, so keep doing that. Really, we got numbers back. I don't think we was ever left 3 versus 3 on the counter, something that we should have done in the game at the Emirates and not conceded. Really, we exploited their right-hand side. We won the game. We did what we needed to do, really and truly. It is what it is. I did think on reflection of the game, referee bugging out. Certain fouls for both teams are being given when they shouldn't, and vice versa. Partey probably fortunate not to get a yellow card early on in the game for handball. Romero should have been sent off, and there should have been a couple more bookings, if I'm completely honest with you people. But we did what we needed to do. So who really gives a monkeys, really and truly? If we look at the first goal, I think I counted about 7-8 passes, you know, between that. But long story short, skipping some people out, I can't remember the passing sequence. But long story short, Zinchenko's won the ball, right? Long story short, after being recycled, it's found Thomas Partey. Now, Saka versus Sessegnon, initially, I felt it was a good little battle from both of them, but the ball's been played into Saka. Saka's done what he's doing in it. Saka's done what he's done. Sessegnon tries to stay with him. Obviously, on another day, nothing happens, but, you know, that's what you're taught in youth football. Put the ball into dangerous areas, and you get things like this. Obviously, Saka's done what Saka's done. You know, Saka's done what he's, again, not to scale. Saka's done what he's done. It's taking a deflection of Sessegnon. Hugo Lloris should do better, but he's been dropping a few clangers. He has a bozo gene in him. That's nothing to do with us. Who really cares, really and truly, you know? So, yeah, that's how we scored. And shout out Zinchenko. My man's making an overlapping run for Martinelli to get involved. Let's just say this is Martinelli. Obviously, he needs no license to get into centre mid. He was venturing forward on the right-hand side. Partey was good. Benjamin White was good. Gabriel and Saliba, very good in that game, in my opinion, did their thing. The second goal, obviously, as I said, Hugo Lloris had no options. You know, if we put some more players in here to kind of make it paint a better picture, you know, we were pressing very well from the front and defensively. You had Odegaard, you know, you had Eddie there. Obviously, even you had Granite. Again, if you're not involved, don't feel any sort of way, people. I'm just trying to paint a vague picture. Smash the like buttons and offer your opinions. A regular theme is Spurs are not confident. Their team is doing woeful. They're not good on the ball at the moment. Let's go out there and exploit these things, in it, people. On a regular basis, they weren't really trying to play out from the back. And how many times did you see Hugo Lloris go long? There was an incident, people, where if I can remember correctly, literally, if you go watch the game again, as poor as Hugo has done, and you saw early, going off topic for a sec, you saw early on in the game, he was kind of dilly-dallying. Eddie and Ketia won it off him, and we weren't able to score. But there's a moment just before we score our second with Martin Odegaard, people, that he's looking around. There's no option, so naturally he's going to go long. He's tried to go long. Saliba's won the header. Thomas Partey, again, we've exploited their right-hand side. Partey has obviously found Bukayo Saka, probably about more here. Saka's travelled with it. Simultaneously, if we start removing players, people, again, following midfield runners, Odegaard, again, it's what you do off the ball that makes the difference. Odegaard's already on his bike, and, he kind of warned them before because he had an effort from range that went just wide just before he warned them. And Saka and Odegaard, I won't quite say it's an underrated partnership. Shout out to Benjamin White, who's also getting a feature as well, more time, just so he feels, can't leave the man out. So let's put Ben White there. But he warned them. Saka is one thing, and he's the danger man. And he, I think him and Martinelli went easy on the fullbacks. And even that Saka had the beating of Sessegnon more often than not. But people are not following Martin Odegaard. And I'm happy that this is not an Arsenal issue. People are not following Martin Odegaard. There's about 3-4 Spurs players. Not a single player has switched on and thought Martin Odegaard's made a run here. He's like an 8.5, a 10.5. He's like, he plays as a 10, but he plays as an 8. And I do think you would rob Odegaard of probably scoring all these goals like he's doing. But I think long term, if he plays that Xhaka role, we'll see greater impetus. I really love what Martin Odegaard's doing. I've been saying the man's a baller. He's turning up away from home for the critics. He's performing. He's scoring goals. He's getting assists. And for me, that's not even what I'm looking for. That's a bonus. That's what you need to do in that role. But it's how he's governing the press. It's how he's controlling the game. And I do think there's many more gears to come up. But in relation to our second goal, people, they've just simply not followed Martin Odegaard. Again, not to scale. Saka's found him. Obviously, he's made a yard of space. If we remove this man here for a sec, people, Hugo Lloris maybe should do better. But Odegaard struck it fine into the corner, and we're 2-0 ahead. We scored in the 36th minute, 10 or so minutes before half time. That's a great time to score and give ourselves that healthy cushion, people. So the way we played defensively, the way we played offensively, the individual battles, the way we managed the game, on another day, I'd say the only thing we could say is that Spurs probably should have scored a couple because of the chances they had, and we probably should have scored a lot more. We should put the game into bed the first half. We was on stuff, and I did like our shape. Again, not to scale people, but again, they have a back three. Apart from Romero, who's the only one, and his head was gone. They have as a centre back, as part of a back three, especially in a game like that, you've got to be braver. They're very limited on the ball, all the back three, excluding him. Obviously their two midfielders, Sar's fairly decent, and Højbjerg, but they're just going backwards. Sessegnon at times is purring and going forward and had a chance in the second half. Doherty's not offering a damn thing, really. And their centre mids are going backwards. So really, they're making it tougher to score goals. This is why Harry Kane's isolated. Son's frustrated. He finds himself going into sorry for any technical difficulties. Off the ball, we indirectly kind of went into a lot more narrow than this. A very narrow back four, 4-4-2, banks of four people with Odegaard and Eddie joining that, people. So defensively, we were good. They couldn't break us down. That's one of Spurs' toughest things to do this season is score goals. Regardless of what it says for Son, Kane, etc., in the eye test, they can't break down low blocks. So you don't always need to rewrite the script. If that's something they've struggled with, let's go out there and do that, really and truly. And that is essentially what happened, people. Again, if we look at certain things statistically, because I like to do these things, Odegaard's goal was the 100th Arsenal have scored against Spurs in the Premier League, people. Arsenal have kept 7 clean sheets away from home in the Premier League this season. That's one more than the whole of last year. Games against the top 6, away from home, consistency, all of these things is what we need to see. And for me, there's several gears. I would love to get into a scenario where, even with me, you come to it's obviously this season we've come to expect it now, but you come to expect it of sorts, and that's where we need to go. Arsenal are currently 15 points better off from the equivalent fixtures from last season. West Ham, Brighton away, Newcastle at home, Spurs away, Man United, and obviously Everton. you know, really at the time, people. Arsenal beat Tottenham home and away in the Premier League for the first time since 2013-14 when Mikel Arteta was in their midfield. And obviously that's not really a thing. Arteta won the FA Cup as a player here, had time to retire, got time to learn his trade under Pep Guardiola, reject an Arsenal move initially and then take the job and win the FA Cup and Community Shield before them lot, and obviously be back there. Crazy. We ended a run of 8 games without a victory away from home against Spurs. Let's make that a marker. Only Kevin De Bruyne has more goal assists in the Prem than Bukayo Saka with 7. If you're only 3 behind Kevin De Bruyne with the City tax, Haaland tax, experience tax, then it is what it is. This is the first time Arsenal have won 4 consecutive away games in all comps by 2+ goals since October 1994. This is the first time Arsenal have won away games against Chelsea and Spurs, in the same season since 93-94. So that's before my life. I came into this world in 95. This is Arsenal's best ever start to the league campaign. Let's make sure it's the best ever ending to that, people. So, yeah, people. I mean, the best thing Spurs can brag about is Richarlison, you know, kind of hitting Rick Ramsdale when they're a fan, really. But Duppy know who's for frightened for real, because you would have tried it. You didn't try it with Tommy Ansu, and you know better than to try it with someone like Granit Xhaka. You're doing it to Ramsdale. He's a humble figure. Odegaard is the club's first captain to score away from home against Spurs in the league since Patrick Vieira in 04-05. What a record to have, people. And big up Ramsdale for his 7 saves for that as well. Arsenal versus Spurs has seen more penalties, but again, they're nothing without their penalties. I guess they didn't pay whatever referees and whatever VAR people need to be paid to get there. Because I thought Kane, you know, a lot of people thought Kane was going to, you know, grab his records. I think he's 2 goals off some sort of record for Spurs. Not happening in a game like this, I'll tell you. So yeah, it is what it is where that's concerned, people. Benjamin had a great game, really, and obviously you saw the images. Big up him and Martinelli as well. He had a 90% pass accuracy. He made 49 passes. He completed 28 final third passes, 17 passes into the final third. Both of them were the most. Cleared the ball 8 times, which is the most. Won 4 of his duels. 1 possession 4 times. Won 3 aerial duels. 3 passes into the up box, and nobody dribbled past him. I mean, we've become accustomed to that. Shout out to Benjamin, man. They said that he wasn't be good. When you're that good, you don't need to watch football. Odegaard is averaging a goal contribution every 71.2 minutes for Arsenal since the World Cup. In 23 appearances this season, he has contributed to 13 goals. Only Saka with 14 has contributed to more for Arsenal. So goals, assists, tempo, captain, shows what a bit of confidence, what a bit of faith, what good talent ID and having a project can do. And Odegaard's getting better and better. And we signed him for 30 million. He's 24 or so. We always talk about Saka, Martinelli, Saliba, etc. He's someone that's going to be top, and we might have a fight to hold on to him. Good teams only want good players. And one day with these players, if the time comes, we'll make decent money. What a player Martin Odegaard is. Intelligent. Not quite Mesut Ozil, but I've got something, you know, Arteta did Ozil dirty. He's giving me something that can hold it up, really. A majestic footballer, an Arsene Wenger player as well, as much as a Mikel Arteta player, people. So shout out to Martin Odegaard. Oh, wait, you know, you look at our defensive record. Newcastle have 11 clean sheets. We've got 9. Man United have 8. Man City have 7. And that's why those 4 teams, better yet, are spoken about being in a title challenge. I don't check the league table, so I can't comment on that where Arsenal are related. You look at the away table, much like I don't know what the actual Premier League table is, but if it is correlated like Arsenal's, Arsenal are 3rd away from home, as are Manchester City are 2nd, Newcastle are 3rd, Brighton are 4th, Manchester United are 5th, and so are Spurs. Spurs are 6th, to be fair. And they're 5th in the league, so it is what it is. But away from, at home, we're great, but you have to do well away from home. No other Premier League midfielder has more goals than Martin Odegaard this season with 8. Can you get 10 goals, 10 assists minimum? Because I think you have potential if we keep doing what we're doing to get close to that Henry record, regardless of who's got Haaland and all of that jazz there, people. That is irrelevant. We're sharing out the goals, people. You would like a bit more, but Odegaard has 8. Saka's got 7. Martinelli and Nketiah also have 7. Jesus is injured and will be like a new signing. He's got 5. Granit has 4. And started the season, Granit was a goal-scoring midfielder. Saliba, Vieira, Partey, Nelson, Gabriel have 2. Own goals has even contributed and got 2. Own goals might even have more Premier League goals than Richarlison for Spurs. Marquinhos, Holding, Tierney all have 1, people. And this is in all comps, obviously. So we're sharing out the goals. Imagine if we bring in more depth. Shout out to Gabriel and Saliba as well. But Arsenal have won all 7 London derbies in the Premier League this season. At home, we beat Fulham, Spurs and West Ham. Didn't keep a clean sheet, but dealt with them. Away from home, we have kept clean sheets. We haven't conceded in them. Palace, Brentford, Chelsea, Spurs, all sorts of flavors. Cool pest control where the Eagles and the Bees are concerned. If you want flavors, shout us. We got that Chelsea pack, that Spurs pack, and also that Liverpool pack. And we won the league at all their grounds. Shout out to Barcelona for winning that yesterday as well. But forget all of that. It's all the Arsenal thing. Looking at Martin Odegaard's statistics, 86 pass accuracy, 57 touches, 43 passes, 6 passes into the box, 5 in the final third, 3 shots, 3 fouls, 1 possession 3 times, has a goal, made 2 crosses, created 2 chances, had 2 shots on target as well. We've already bigged up Benjamin White. No under-21 player in Europe's top 5 divisions has provided more league assists this season than Bukayo Saka, people, with 7. Ramsdale was the first Arsenal goalkeeper to keep a clean sheet away against Spurs since Chesney in 2014, and he made 7 saves, people. So, yeah, for the first time in 9 years, Arsenal have completed a league double against Spurs, where 2013-14, Arteta was our gaffer, was our manager, was our midfielder, sorry. And in 2023, he's now our manager, people. So, yeah, big up Zinchenko. He didn't lose a single aerial duel in the derby, won 4 of the contested ones. So, he's got 100%, and he was up for it. And again, we did what we needed to do. As I said, I think Salah had a good game. He won possession more times in the first half than a lot of players. So, yeah, shout out to him. It don't mean nothing. And he was fouled, people. He won more fouls than any other player on the pitch in the first half, Saka, in the North London derby. Boy, Saka's contributed to 13 goals and assists, people. Bloody hell. No player scored more goals for Arsenal at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium than Hugo Lloris. Odegaard has now scored more Premier League goals than any other midfielder this season. And as I keep saying, statistics. We're here for it. No one cares about Chelsea Palace, man. Where's the other Arsenal settings, man? Where's all the other Arsenal stuff? And we definitely don't care about that, pagan. Tell you that much. Big up Harvey Downs as well. Good little YouTuber, good little Twitter account on behalf of Opta. Crazy. And everything just looks like it's working, really and truly, for us, man. Everything just looks like it's working. What is Opta saying on Arsenal as well, man? Let's see what's going on there. Arsenal have won 47 points from 18 Premier League games this season, the most they've won at this stage of a campaign in their league history. Arsenal are 8 points ahead of second place Man City in the Premier League table, with this their biggest lead in the comp when playing the same number of games as the sides below since the final day of 03-04, when they won the league title by 11 points. Crazy. None of the 4 players to start a Premier League North London derby match on their birthday ended up on the winning sides. Norton, Adebayo, Dyer, and Alderweireld. Happy birthday, Dyer, man. And obviously, last season, Odegaard only got 7 goals, 5 assists, and now he's got 8 and 5. So let's keep it going. Lloris has scored an own goal for the first time in his 354-game Premier League career. Wouldn't have known that. Pardon me, that's difficult to believe still. But who cares, really? So I think statistically, that's all there really is to waffle about where Arsenal's concerned. But at the same time, again, just missing out any notes. I did think the first half was very good because by 30 minutes played in the game, people, we had 11 touches in their box. They had none. By the 28th minute, we had 55 passes in the final third. They only had 24, which tells you everything, people, which was kind of great, people. So, yeah, to kind of put the game to bed in the first 36 minutes on reflection, watching the game again was amazing, people, if I'm honest. In terms of improvements, I think, just because of, we've set high standards, let's almost chase perfection. I think because of how we played, that was a game where, it was a North London derby and all of that, but we were treating that like a normal Premier League game. And because of the high standards we set, I think first half we could have scored 3-4, maybe even in the second half. Maybe if Partey's effort goes in, Eddie scores a couple, it's a different game. And I do think the second half, while we managed it well, we looked good on the counter, they looked leggy, we frustrated them, we showed a lot more bottle than them, maturity than them, game management than them, guile than them, commitment than them, even down to when we're doing the team huddles. I do think the second half we could have kind of kept it going a bit like the first, because I didn't think we conceded 2, but I definitely thought at a point, big up Ramsdale, that's why he's in goal. I definitely thought Spurs would nick one, maybe in the 80th minute, 81st, and the last couple of moments, it's a dodgy one, have to draw for Rob Holding at centre-back and go to a back 3. But we managed the game perfectly, man to a man, collectively. So shout out the players, shout out MIKEL ARTETA, shout out the Arsenal away fans, because watching the game again on Sky Sports, they wouldn't stop making noise. Shout out the celebrations at the end, even, shout out to everyone. But we enjoyed tomorrow. For the players, they have to leave the fans like ourselves to waffle. Now the job goes towards Man United, who Man United are they're mounting you know, a serious assault, you know, in terms of the league table. They've got a big week. They've got Crystal Palace, so we've got one less game than them. They've got Palace and then us on Sunday. So the work for Manchester United now has to begin. But on that note, you lot stay safe, stay blessed. I'll see you lot soon. Please let me know your opinions. Thank you for supporting the content as usual. I'll see you lot soon, man. Hey, you know what we do, man. You know what we do. London's ours, man. Chelsea, Spurs, Brentford, all these guys, Liverpool, everyone can get this smoke, man. Shout out to Arteta and everyone. But on that note, God bless you all.
There's always just that active red flag, defending. I think it's like